The hands that once held the power of life now couldn't hold a steady glass. But his mind still held the answers, and his daughter's life depended on him finding the courage to use it. Dr. Alistair Finch was a name whispered with reverence in the halls of medicine. His hands, instruments of precision and grace, had danced through countless complex surgeries, defying death time and again. He was a titan, a god in a sterile green gown. But the gods can fall. It started subtly, a barely perceptible tremor in his right hand as he reached for a morning coffee. He dismissed it. Fatigue, stress. But the tremor grew, a quiet, insistent rebellion against his will. Soon, holding a scalpel became an exercise in terror. The diagnosis was a cruel joke from the cosmos: essential tremor, a neurological disorder with no cure. The very tools of his trade, his hands, had betrayed him. The operating room, once his sanctuary, became a place of haunting memories. The silence of his forced retirement was deafening. He swapped the crisp scent of antiseptic for the stale odor of whiskey. His wife, Elena, pleaded with him, her words bouncing off the wall of bitterness he built around himself. Their daughter, Maya, a fiery spirit just like him, watched her hero crumble. The arguments were explosive, fueled by his despair and her frustration. One night, after a particularly brutal fight, Maya packed a bag. "I can't watch you do this to yourself, Dad," she had said, her voice thick with tears. "Call me when you decide to be a father again." That was 5 years ago. 5 years of silence, of birthdays missed, of a grandchild he'd only seen in pictures on Elena's phone. The bottle became his only companion, the burn of alcohol a familiar, numbing friend. He existed in a gray haze, the brilliant surgeon replaced by a ghost haunting a luxury apartment, surrounded by awards that now felt like mockeries. Then, one rain-slick Tuesday, the phone rang. It was Elena, her voice a shattered whisper. "Alistair, it's Maya. There's been an accident." The world tilted on its axis. He rushed to the hospital, a place he hadn't set foot in for years. The familiar smell hit him like a physical blow. He found Elena outside the ICU, her face a mask of anguish. Maya was in a coma, a multi-car pileup. The list of her injuries was a litany of horrors, but the worst was a complex aortic transection, a tear in the main artery from her heart, complicated by shrapnel from the wreckage lodged precariously close. It was a ticking time bomb. The hospital's chief of surgery, a man Alistair had mentored, approached him with a heavy heart. "Alistair, the tear is in a location we've never seen. Standard procedures are too risky. There's one experimental technique, a paper you published a decade ago. No one has ever successfully performed it. We don't have the expertise." The unspoken question hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. Alistair looked through the glass at his daughter, tubes and wires snaking from her body, a machine breathing for her. He saw not just the patient, but the little girl who used to fall asleep on his chest, who believed her dad could fix anything. The tremor in his hands raged, a physical manifestation of his fear and self-loathing. How could he, a washed-up drunk, be the one to save her? His mind, clouded by years of alcohol, felt sluggish. Could he even access that knowledge anymore? The thought of being in an or, even just as a guide, was terrifying. What if he failed? What if his broken mind led them astray? The weight of it was crushing. He saw his grandson, Leo, a small, scared 5-year-old, clutching Elena's hand, his eyes wide with a fear no child should know. In that moment, something shifted inside Alistair. The ghost in the apartment began to recede, and a flicker of the old surgeon, the fighter, ignited. This wasn't about his hands. It was about his mind, his legacy. It was about his daughter. He turned to the chief of surgery, his voice raspy but firm. "Get me Dr. Kenji Tanaka. He was my best fellow. He has the hands. And get me every scan, every image you have. I'll be in conference room 3. And someone get me a gallon of black coffee." For the next 18 hours, Alistair didn't sleep. He pored over the scans, the old pathways in his brain firing back to life. The intricate, three-dimensional map of his daughter's chest formed in his mind, every vessel, every nerve rendered in perfect detail. He coached Dr. Tanaka, a young, brilliant but nervous surgeon, walking him through the theoretical steps, sketching diagrams on a whiteboard with a shaking hand, his mind a steel trap of information. The tremor was a constant, humiliating reminder of what he'd lost, but his intellect was as sharp as it had ever been. He was back in his element. The morning of the surgery arrived. The air in the observation deck above the oar was thick with tension. Alistair sat before a bank of monitors, a headset connecting him directly to Tanaka in the sterile field below. He was a conductor without a baton, a pilot flying blind, relying on another man's hands to execute his commands. "Okay, Kinji." Alistair's voice was a calm, steady presence in the younger surgeon's ear. "Begin the incision. Follow the line we drew. Slow and steady." The hours bled together. Alistair guided Tanaka through the treacherous landscape of Maya's chest. "Watch for the phrenic nerve on your left. Good. Now, we approach the aorta. This is where it gets difficult. The shrapnel is adhered to the vessel wall. We can't pull it. We have to dissect it off, millimeter by millimeter." His voice never wavered, a lifeline of confidence for the team below. He could feel the familiar rhythm, the dance of surgery, flowing through him, even from a distance. For the first time in years, he felt alive, purposeful. They successfully removed the shrapnel. A collective, silent sigh of relief rippled through the observation room. "Now for the repair. Okay, Kinji, prepare the synthetic graft. This is the procedure from my paper. Remember the sequence. Cross-clamp above and below the tear. You have 90 seconds of circulatory arrest. Go." Tanaka worked with fluid precision, his hands a perfect extension of Alistair's mind. The graft was in place. "Release the clamps." Slowly, slowly, Alistair leaned forward, his eyes glued to the monitor displaying Maya's vital signs. The blood pressure, which had been dangerously low, began to climb. Steady, stable. A wave of profound relief washed over him, so powerful it almost brought him to his knees. He had done it. He had brought her back. But just as he allowed himself a breath, a frantic alarm blared through the oar. "Sir, we have a massive bleed. It's coming from behind the graft. We can't see the source." Tanaka's voice was tight with panic. On the monitor, Maya's blood pressure plummeted. The steady green line on the EKG became erratic. Alistair's heart hammered against his ribs. This was a complication he hadn't foreseen. A posterior vessel, hidden on the scans, must have torn when the pressure returned. They were blind. Panic gripped the room. Tanaka's hands, once so steady, hesitated over the bloody field. "Dr. Finch, what do we do? I can't see it. We're losing her." Alistair's world narrowed to the panicked voice in his ear and the cascading alarms. His mind raced, frantically replaying the anatomy, searching for an answer that wasn't there. All his knowledge, all his planning. Was it about to fail? If you want to know what happens next, and if Dr. Finch can save his daughter, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss part 2. Thanks for watching.